Cyclones are huge revolving storms caused by winds blowing around a central area of low atmospheric pressure. In the northern hemisphere, cyclones are called hurricanes or typhoons, and their winds blow in an anti-clockwise circle. In the southern hemisphere, these tropical storms are known as cyclones, whose winds blow in a clockwise circle. How cyclones are made. Cyclones develop over warm seas near the equator. Air heated by the sun rises very swiftly, which creates areas of very low pressure. As the warm air rises, it becomes loaded with moisture which condenses into massive thunderclouds. Cool air rushes in to fill the void that is left, but because of the constant turning of the Earth on its axis, the air is bent inwards and then spirals upwards with great force. The swirling winds rotate faster and faster, forming a huge circle which can be up to 2,000 kilometers across. At the center of the storm is a calm, cloudless area called the eye, where there is no rain and the winds are fairly light. As the cyclone builds up, it begins to move. It is sustained by a steady flow of warm, moist air. The strongest winds and heaviest rains are found in the towering clouds which merge into a wall about 20 to 30 kilometers from the storm's center. Winds around the eye can reach speeds of up to 200 kilometers per hour, and a fully developed cyclone pumps out about 2 million tons of air per second. This results in more rain being released in a day than falls in a year in a city like London. The effect that cyclones have on people entirely depend on the size of it, its intensity, and the location of it. The most significant effects of a tropical cyclone occur when they cross coastlines, making landfall. Some of these effects include strong winds, which can damage or destroy vehicles, buildings, bridges, and other outside objects, turning loose debris into deadly flying projectiles. In the United States, major hurricanes comprise just 21% of all landfalling tropical cyclones, but account for 83% of all damage. Tropical cyclones often knock out power to tens or hundreds of thousands of people, preventing vital communication and hampering rescue efforts. Tropical cyclones often destroy key bridges, overpasses, and roads, complicating efforts to transport food, clean water, and medicine to the areas that need it. Furthermore, the damage caused by tropical cyclones to buildings and dwellings can result in economic damage to a region.
Another effect of a cyclone is the storm surge, or the increase in sea level due to the cyclone. It is typically the worst effect from landfalling tropical cyclones, historically resulting in 90% of tropical cyclone deaths. The relatively quick surge in sea level can move miles, kilometers inland, flooding homes and cutting off escape routes. The storm surges and winds of hurricanes may be destructive to human-made structures, but they also stir up the waters of coastal estuaries, which are typically important fish breeding locales.
Another effect of a cyclone is the heavy rainfall it produces. The thunderstorm activity in a tropical cyclone produces intense rainfall, potentially resulting in flooding, mudslides, and landslides. Inland areas are particularly vulnerable to freshwater flooding due to residents not preparing adequately. Heavy inland rainfall eventually flows into coastal estuaries, damaging marine life. The wet environment in the aftermath of a tropical cyclone, combined with the destruction of sanitation facilities and a warm tropical climate, can induce epidemics of disease, which claim lives long after the storm passes. Infections of cuts and bruises can be greatly amplified by wading in sewage-polluted water. Large areas of standing water caused by flooding also contribute to mosquito-borne illnesses. Furthermore, crowded evacuees in shelters increase the risk of... Although cyclones take an enormous toll in lives and personal property, they may be important factors in the precipitation regimes of places they affect and bring much needed precipitation to otherwise dry regions. Hurricanes in the East and North Pacific often supply moisture to the southwestern United States and parts of Mexico. Japan receives over half of its rainfall from typhoons. Hurricane Camille averted drought conditions and ended water deficits along much of its path, though it also killed 259 people and caused $9.14 billion in damage. the other hand, the occurrence of tropical cyclones can cause tremendously variability in rainfall over the area they affect. Indeed, cyclones are the primary cause of the most extreme rainfall variability in the world, observed in places such as Onslow and Port Hedland in subtropical Australia, where the annual rainfall can range from practically nothing, with no cyclones, to over 1,000 millimetres if cyclones are abundant. There are many ways people are able to recover from cyclones. Some of the simple ways people can recover from cyclones include seeking support from local welfare agencies, encouraging your family to talk about their experience with friends and neighbours, becoming involved in community activities as soon as you can, maintaining high standards of hygiene, sending children back to school as soon as possible so they can resume their normal routine, calling the SES on 132500 if your home is sustained serious damage and you need help, and finally contacting welfare agencies if your home is damaged and you need a place to stay, or you can use your personal camping equipment such as tents, generators or cooking gear. There are many ramifications that occur after a cyclone has made landfall. Some of these include the prices of food going up in other regions due to the fact that the main supplier's food crop has been wiped out. An example of this is when Cyclone Tracy hit Queensland, destroying all the banana plantations. This made bananas in South Australia rise from $3 to $4 a kilo, all the way up to $15 a kilo. If a region has lost stock, such as cows or chickens, they can be hard to replace. If the region relies heavily on their produce for their local supermarkets, it can induce a famine due to shortage of food. If health facilities are damaged, it could be a while before they're up and running again, resulting in people that are sick or injured having to travel far away to receive treatment. If bodies are scattered around in water, they are able to produce disease. The reason they are able to give diseases to people is that if people drink the water without knowing it has been contaminated, they have a very high chance of getting some type of disease such as cholera. If Adelaide was hit by a Category 5 cyclone, it would be a devastating event. The reason why is that lots of Adelaide's businesses and residential areas will be destroyed. The strong winds that prevail from the cyclone will be able to rip flimsy houses off their bearings and also be able to destroy many other homes. Floods will also be a major devastating effect. They will be able to completely wreck the interiors of houses that are still standing after the strong winds. This will result in loss of basically all possessions because they will either be damaged by the water or carried off with the water. The sewage system found in Adelaide will be absolutely destroyed due to floodwater, with sewage leaking out across the roads and mixing with the floodwater. If survivors decide to go wading through the sewage infected water, they have a high chance of developing diseases like hepatitis. Seeing as some of Adelaide's roads aren't built to handle the traffic of nowadays, that may become an issue if people decide to leave it to the last second to evacuate. All the roads leading out of Adelaide will become clogged with traffic, and then the cyclone will hit and people will be found to still be in their cars with a high chance of dying. People that live in the Glenelg area or along Adelaide's coastal areas will definitely have to evacuate, or it will mean a very high or certain death. The reason why is that the cyclone will create a storm surge at the bay, resulting in the water rising very rapidly. This in turn will result in most of the bay becoming flooded by water, ruining houses and businesses alike.